Hi, I'm Rebekah Elmore, and I'm the owner of Peak College Consulting here in Newburyport, Massachusetts. So I have been a teacher in the past, and I loved working with students. However, my job before, I was in the business world, and I missed working with kids. So I went back to school and decided to work with students in the college process. So I wanted to help students with the college process after I struggled with my own students, my own children, and I really wanted to get back to working with children again. My education is working with children, so I wanted to get back and do that. So I went to college in Boston at Wheelock College, which is now part of BU, and I got a degree in education, and I taught school for several years in a middle school in New Jersey before having my own children. I then proceeded to have 4 children in 4 years and stayed home with them until they were in school full time. After that, I decided that I would get a job working with companies to help them with efficiency, because having 4 kids in 4 years, you had to be very efficient. So I would have many people ask me how to run the household or how did I manage having so many kids in such a short period of time. And I realized that I had a gift in organization, executive functioning, those kinds of things. So I went to work owning my own company, starting working with small companies on how to correctly open up or start their company. And I worked on workflow and efficiency. And that led to a job with one particular company for 7 years. So for 7 years, I helped the owner build her business into very lucrative practice. And I loved the business part of it, but I really missed working with students. So I left that job and started Peak College Consulting. I started Peak College Consulting in 2014. So we're a full service consulting company. Most of our students use what we call the comprehensive package, which is basically anything that you can imagine all around the college process. So writing of personal essays, applying the applications, the applying to colleges, all of the small details, supplemental essays, deadlines. We also work on building a resume. We talk about class selection and making sure that they're taking the right classes in high school. We talk about how they spend their free time. So what are their extracurriculars and how can we expand on those? And we also talk about what does a college list look like for them. So we look at their rigor and their interests and their criteria, and we create a college list that they then research and decide which schools they want to apply to. And lastly, we do a U-Science ability battery test, and this is looking at their natural abilities and tying those natural abilities to certain careers that they may want to look into that may be of interest to them. So I live here in Newburyport, Massachusetts, which is a beautiful seaport town, and I had always planned on getting some office space in downtown Newburyport because it's absolutely beautiful. You look over the water with all the boats. But what I found was that kids actually really liked coming to my house. So we set up an office in my home. I think it's more comfortable for the students. They don't feel like they're in a sterile environment. We have a couple dogs that the kids love to have as part of the meetings. They're often sitting at their feet or sitting in their laps. We call them therapy dogs, although they technically are not therapy dogs. So we've decided to just keep my office at my house because I think it's actually what the clients really like. As an educational consultant, our business is grown by word of mouth. So once we work with a client and then they go talk to people about us, that's our best way of marketing. So we will always want to over-deliver, and then people be happy about what the services we gave them, so that then they will go tell other people. But we do a little marketing. We are on Facebook and we are on Instagram. We have a great young girl, my daughter, who is the marketing manager for us, and she posts on both Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook almost every day. So we do get our word out that way as well, but I would say our business grows based on happy customers. Yeah, so I think technology is it's a double-edged sword. So there are things that make our lives much easier. We use a handful of software programs to help us. One of them is called More, and that's a client management program. So each student gets a portal, and in this portal we have to-do lists and tasks and college lists and spreadsheets, and every single one of the students has their own password protected portal that they can use. And we use this to stay organized. So every time we meet with the student, we go on to More together, we look at what needs to be done, we can email and text and help with communications with parents using that. We also use it to have the students do research on the schools. So there's lots of different software programs out there where you can put in the school name, and you can read some interviews that students have done, maybe some pros and cons about the school, so that the students can do some real easy research right from their couch. But as we know, technology can also be hurtful. And so when students try and you go and use rankings and look at the rankings on the internet, and they say, oh, I'm not going to apply to this school because it's not highly ranked, I wish they didn't have that information at the tip of their, just right there for them, because it's not valuable information and can often cause misunderstanding. Yes, during the last few years, this has come up in the educational consulting world, where people with money are buying their way into college or trying to buy their way into college. We're all familiar with Varsity Blues and Rick Singer, and what happened a few years ago where he was trying to get people through the side door. So this included wealthy parents trying to pretend their kids were athletes, to other people doing SATs or ACT tests for them. So our industry is, under a microscope right now. And I was worried that it would affect my company and the companies of my peers. However, I think that because we are so ethical and we understand and explain to parents our model, that it was never a question that our ethics, that we were not being ethical with the students. We talked to the students from day one about being honest and truthful, and that you want to get into college because of what you've done, and that if you get a spot in that class, it to be something to be proud of. So although I know there are educational consultants out there that charge an enormous amount of money, who will make promises of acceptances into specific schools, that they are very few that do that. For the most part, the educational consultants that I know would never do that. We don't charge crazy prices. We work with the students do the job, we don't do it for them. But we are constantly being reminded of the unethical practices of other consultants. So we are aware of it, we talk to our parents and our students about it, and it's something that we try to hold very dear to us, to be ethical at all times. So I feel like the best way to overcome the bad, the bad press that we've been getting lately is just to be open and upfront about it. I belong to an organization called IECA, and that organization supports educational consultants, and they have helped us with our marketing material, with explaining what we do and how ethics is very important to us. And having their support has been incredible because we have this big organization behind us. I also feel like we attacked it right as it happened. So when all of this press came out about the Varsity Blues scandal, we addressed it. We didn't hide behind it. We asked parents and students if they had any questions. We gave data and facts about how we practice. And I think that was the best way to deal with it, is just being completely upfront about it. Yeah, I'd like to think that all educational consultants are warm, have a little humor to offset some of the tense times that they have with students, ethical, and well educated in the college world. If I feel like there's something that sets me apart opposed to other practices, I would say my connection with the students. I work very hard to find a balance of me being the adult and them being the student, but also mutual respect. So, I don't always wear grown-up clothes. When I'm meeting with them, I am very casual with them. We joke around, we talk about what's going on in their life. We make a connection. And once we do that, then kids are amazing. They trust us, they open up. We often have tears of frustration or sadness in our office because a student feels so comfortable they're able to communicate with us. They'll do what we ask because we're respectful of them. So if they couldn't get an essay done, or they couldn't do something like they were sick, or things were too busy for them, and they explain that to me, I'm not going to give them a hard time. I'm like, okay, why don't you try to get it done this weekend? And they're like, okay, and then they will. So that mutual respect is what's very important to me. So when I hire people to work with me, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for someone who has a connection with students, with teenagers. They're a very special breed, and not everybody enjoys being around them. So I want to make sure I find people who love to be with teenagers, who have a certain affect and light way about them, so that they can make the connection with the students. So I don't have a specific mentor for my business, but I do consider my 3 older sisters my mentors. For my childhood was a bit chaotic and crazy and untraditional, and my sisters were the 3 that I went to always for advice, for help, for assistance, for guidance. And watching them, pave the way to adulthood and motherhood and careers helped me become more confident, knowing that I always had these 3 to support me. When I started my company, I met a bunch of fabulous women at a program called Summer Institute Training. And this is where we learned how to become educational consultants. And we spent about a week together at Swarthmore College, and we just met and hit it off. And so this group of 7, we have grown our businesses together. We have weekly Zoom meetings. We meet up at conferences. So whenever we have a question, we help each other. We're probably mentors to each other, I would say. And I don't particularly mentor anyone now. I do have 2 employees that I do help and assist in any way I can. I help anytime they have a question. or I teach them some new, some new data that has come up or a new tool that I've used. But we definitely are partners as far as, what we can do and how we work with students. But I do mentor a lot because I mentor my students. So the kiddos that I have, I mentor them. I listen to them, I help them, I guide them. So mentor in a different way, but yes, mentoring. I think that, over-delivering always is important to us. So, making sure that the clients are not just happy, but they feel like I've given them more than what they thought. I think that's a great business model in general. I have so many great people that have referred me to their friends and to their family. We're nationwide now, only because if someone I worked with has a cousin and that cousin is in California, now we're working with that cousin. So my success has been hard work and over-delivering, but also having just the best clients who really have helped me grow and speak to what I have done with their children so that I get more clients. Well, I think there's, no risk, no reward. So if you have a dream of owning your own business or changing your careers, you only have one life to live. So I say, go and do it. There'll be hard days. There'll be days you question yourself. You have no clients and no money and you're wondering, why are you doing this? But if it's something that you love and you're passionate about, I'd say, education is important. So get educated, know what you need to do. Don't give up. Like I said, you'll have, good days and bad days, struggles. But I have never regretted my decision to start my own business and become an education consultant. If you ask my husband, he'll tell you that I basically tell him every day I have the best job ever. And I really enjoy that. And really, it is the best thing I've ever done, was starting my business. At this point, we are almost ready to send in your applications. Mm-hmm. You've finished your essay. Mm-hmm. Your letters of recommendation are all in. You have answered questions on your Common App for all your schools. And now we're just working on supplemental essays. Mm-hmm. Do you know how many you have left?
I've done 3 of mine, and then I'm currently working on my 4th, and then 2 of them, I wanted to ask you about these because 2 of them I have no idea where to start with, so I definitely want to look at those today.
Okay. Yeah, so we'll go over what the question is, and then you can work on that for next week.
Mm-hmm. I'm Nora Kirsten. I'm going to be a senior in high school. I've been working with Rebekah since my freshman year of high school. Well, Rebekah is very caring, knowledgeable, and passionate about her work, and her meetings were something I always looked forward to, not only because of the efficient work we were able to get done, but also because she was able to create this warm and caring environment for me. Well, before working with Peak, the whole college process was always something that really intimidated me because I didn't know where to start at all. So definitely with my years of working with Peak, it's helped me narrow down my choices and interests in school in a less stressful way. I've definitely been able to stay on task with my work, but in definitely a less stressful way because Rebekah has helped take all these big steps and decisions and break them down into work over a course of time, which helped it be less overwhelming for me. I think if college is something that stresses you out or if you want to stay on task with the process, I would definitely recommend working through Peak because they also provide useful sources such as helping you pick your classes you should take in high school, helping with writing the essay, building your resume, and just helping with research on college in general. It's definitely helped, for me personally, release my anxieties of going through the college process, and definitely helped with narrowing down schools I will be applying to, and definitely creating that warm environment, because we've been able, through every meeting, we've always started with talking about how our day was, what's going on in our lives, so it definitely took away that stress component. So my older sister worked through Peak when she was going through the college process, and she really appreciated the work that Rebekah helped provided her, and she's very happy at her school now, and my family and I all appreciate the service and partnership that Peak has provided for us. Definitely that I think the one-on-one meetings have helped a lot, because it definitely helped personalize my experience, and I could just tell how committed Rebekah was to me and how much the work she put forth with it. And definitely that a big part of it was releasing my stress about it, and just made me feel more on task and prepared. I think that you should definitely start early, because high school goes by so fast, and the whole process, I think, is definitely more beneficial and less stressful if you can start early and get it done piece by piece. And definitely, even through this pandemic, working virtually has been beneficial and more flexible, and Peak has done a really good job with it.